Have you ever felt that you're doing everything right, yet something still feels off? You studied hard, you worked hard, but somehow the results don't match the effort anymore. This feeling is everywhere, and it's not your fault. For decades, success followed one clear formula. Learn more information, think logically, analyze faster. School rewarded accuracy, work rewarded efficiency. This was the world we were trained for. Then the world changed. Abundance flooded the market. When everything works, function is no longer enough. Globalization followed. If your job can be done remotely, you are competing with the world. And finally, automation. Machines now do left brain work faster, cheaper, and better. So here's the real question for you. What can you do that machines cannot? The answer isn't learning more rules or working faster. It's how you think, how you feel, and how you find meaning in what you do. This is the shift you're living through. Welcome to the conceptual age. At some point, you may notice something interesting. People with similar skills, similar experience, and similar intelligence start to diverge. Some feel stuck. Others keep moving forward. The difference is not how hard they work. It's how they think. Think back to the idea of abundance. When the market is full of products with similar functions, what actually makes you choose one over another? The answer is design. In a world full of choices, function alone is no longer enough. That's why people are willing to pay more for certain products, even when cheaper alternatives offer similar features. What they're really buying is not just function, but experience. Now think about everyday products you already use. A lamp. It's not just about whether it turns on. Can you control it from your phone? Can you adjust the brightness easily? Does it fit naturally into how you live? Or earphones. It's not only about sound quality. Do they connect instantly with Bluetooth? Do they switch smoothly between devices? Do they just work without you thinking about them? These products don't win because they have more features. They win because they feel better to use. That's what design really is. Design is about reducing effort, removing friction, and making the right action feel obvious. And design is not the talent you're born with. It's a way of seeing. You practice it by paying attention, by noticing where people hesitate, where they get confused, or where they feel annoyed. Even the way you write an email, structure a slide, or explain an idea is a form of design. Good design doesn't add more. It removes what gets in the way. That's how ordinary things become meaningful. Story is how humans make sense of experience over time. When something becomes meaningful, people don't just use it, they remember it. And we don't remember meaning as isolated moments. We remember it as a story. Story is not just what happened, but why it mattered. In the information age, we believed that more information meant better understanding. But information alone doesn't create meaning. It creates noise. Facts tell us what happened, but they don't tell us how things connect or why they're important. When information arrives without a story, the mind treats it as fragments. Easy to hear, easy to forget. But when information follows a story, the mind connects events, adds emotion, and turns experience into memory. That's why stories last. You can see this clearly in how modern work tools are built. Microsoft doesn't present Outlook, Teams, Word, and Excel as separate products. They present a story of work. An idea starts in an email or a Teams message. It becomes a document in Word. It turns into a discussion in Teams, then a plan in Excel, then a decision. Each step makes sense because it follows the one before it. That's not just integration. That's storytelling. And storytelling is not about performance, it's about meaning. You practice it by noticing the story inside real work. What was the situation? What tension appeared? What changed? And by listening carefully to how others describe their experiences, not just what happened, but why it mattered. In a world overwhelmed by information, the people who shape meaning through story are the ones who hold attention. Story helps meaning stay with us. But in a complex world, meaning alone is not enough. At some point, everything starts to feel important. Messages, data, requests, opinions. The real challenge is no longer understanding each part. It's understanding how the parts work together. This is where synthesis matters. Think about a company. Marketing looks at campaigns. Sales looks at revenue. Product looks at features. IT looks at systems. Finance looks at costs. Each team is right. Each view is valid. But decisions fail when everyone only sees their own piece. Progress happens when someone sees the whole organization. How one decision affects another. How one change creates pressure elsewhere. That ability is synthesis. Synthesis is the ability to step back and connect perspectives that don't naturally connect. To see patterns across teams, not just inside one function. In the past, we were trained to specialize, to go deep into one role, one domain, one expertise, and that still matters. But today's problems don't stay in one place. They cross business, technology, and people. You practice synthesis by learning outside your role. If you work in business, learn how systems work. If you work in technology, learn how decisions are made. If you work in one team, talk to another. Read outside your field. Join conversations you don't fully understand yet. The more perspectives you collect, the better you can connect them. And when you can see the whole, complexity becomes manageable. Not because it disappears, but because you finally understand how everything fits together. Seeing the whole picture helps you understand systems. Empathy helps you understand people. For a long time, work was driven by logic. Analyze the problem, fix the issue, move on. But logic is no longer our advantage. Machines can analyze data. AI can solve logical problems faster than we ever could. What they can't do is feel. They can't sense confusion behind silence. They can't hear hesitation in a colleague's voice. They can't recognize fear or feeling unheard. That's where humans still matter. Most problems at work are not logical problems. They are human ones. People rarely react because of the issue itself. They react because of pressure, fear, uncertainty. Empathy is the ability to see what sits beneath behavior. You practice empathy by slowing down, by listening to understand, not to reply, by asking questions instead of making assumptions. Empathy doesn't mean agreement. It means understanding first, before reacting. And in complex environments, that understanding is what keeps teams moving forward. Empathy helps people feel understood, but understanding alone does not unlock creativity. Play does. Play is not games. It's not being careless. Play is a mental state, a state where pressure is lower, where curiosity is allowed, where mistakes are not punished. For many of us, work still looks serious. Quiet rooms, focused faces, everyone afraid of being wrong. We learned early that play and work should be separated. But when work becomes too serious, the brain narrows. People stop exploring. They stop experimenting. They stop asking what if. Play changes that. Play relaxes the mind. It widens perspective. It makes experimentation feel safe. So instead of asking, is this correct? Play asks, what happens if we try? Instead of defending ideas, people test them. Rough drafts, early versions, small experiments. That's why humor matters. A light moment can release tension. A joke can reset a conversation. Play doesn't reduce performance. It enables it. It helps teams think more broadly, adapt more quickly, recover from mistakes. When work feels like play, people engage. They test ideas. They learn faster. They improve. Play is not the opposite of work. Play is how complex work moves forward. Play brings energy back into work. It helps people explore, create, move forward. But after energy comes a deeper question. Why? You can work hard, build skills, live comfortably, and still wake up one day asking, what is all of this for? This is where meaning begins. Meaning is not something you buy. It's not something you're given. It's something you discover. You find meaning when your work connects to something beyond yourself, when it helps someone, improves something, contributes to a bigger picture. At work, this shift is already happening. People don't just ask, how much does this pay? They ask, what impact does this have? Who does this help? Meaning doesn't require a new job or a dramatic change. Sometimes it's a change in perspective. You're not just completing tasks, you're solving problems, supporting others, building something that matters. Meaning grows when you see your work through its impact, not just its output. That's how people stop asking, what's the point, and start knowing why their work matters. For a long time, success was defined by logic, by speed, by efficiency, by doing more faster. And logic still matters, but it is no longer enough. In a world where machines can calculate, optimize, and execute, our value comes from something deeper, from the ability to design, to tell stories that give ideas meaning, to synthesize ideas, to understand people, to play, to find meaning. These are not soft skills. They are human skills. They are what allow us to adapt in uncertainty, work through complexity, and create things that matter. The future doesn't belong to those who work the hardest. It belongs to those who think differently, who feel deeply, who create courageously, who live with purpose. That is the conceptual mind, and it's not something we wait for. It's something we practice.